You are listening to a pleasure podcast. For more from our Sex Podcast Collective, visit pleasurepodcasts.com.
Hello and welcome back to the Horny Housewife Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, or welcome. I want to start today's episode off hot, and I want to inquire. Ladies, do you find it disrespectful when your husband, does that? Which, if you're not watching YouTube, when you are performing oral and your husband gives the head a little tap, a little nudge, a little shove, a little, of course I'm going to see both sides. While I understand there are women who, and I don't feel disrespected when that happens, and I'll tell you why. But first, I want to validate. I can see why it wouldn't be like a joyous occasion, or you're like, I don't love it. Like, oh man, I can't wait to go down on him and like think I might die for 30 seconds. Maybe it surprises you. It hurts. It's, something hitting the back of your throat and you feel like you're choking. Maybe your gag reflex is going to go there. Maybe you feel like you're suffocating and dying, all the things. So totally get that. And to validate the men, I think a lot of men are just present in this moment and are just feeling so chef's kiss, so good and enjoying. And it is not like demeaning. I'm sure there are some out there, of course. There's always the exception. But I would say generally speaking, I'm going to give the guys the benefit of the doubt and believe that, they're excited and it feels so good. And sometimes they just want to, like it just came over them. So that's probably what it is. It's a compliment. It's actually a compliment. And I know there are some women who it upsets them. It makes them, they're like, don't do that. So while, I kind of think it should be easy. Is it easy, man? I'm not a man. But let me just try to go there. Me on the receiving end, going down under and being told, don't you dare put your hands on my head. Have you ever, ladies, been on the receiving end and maybe you get a little with it? Is it because you're feeling primal and loving it and into it? Yes. Or is it because you're like, eat this kitty cat, you little fuck? Maybe. And bravo to both. So can we blame them? Let's not encourage them. We don't have to encourage them. Men, be tender, be soft. A little bit of both. Some aftercare, some love, some zhush, some hug, some joy. A little face cradle, a little face cradle, a little hair tug. But I just want to know. Just want to poll. I have a feeling my listeners, most of my female listeners, are going to be like right there with you, girly pop. But I bet there are male listeners whose wives have made that known. This is what inspired this topic, was a listener sharing, like, his wife finds that disrespectful and what are my thoughts? And those are my thoughts. I am recording today, right now, on my actual wedding anniversary. I know. We've been married 7 years. We've been together 10 years, a decade. And I got all emo earlier, so I'll spare you, but I feel extra grateful. And I don't like jinxing it, because then in 2 days I'm like, fuck them and fuck them kids. But, it always circles back, We always circle back into gratitude. And as of late, I have just felt extra grateful for my family, for my marriage, for the things that matter. For the things that matter. It's like, no matter how much knowledge you seek at a young age, a lot of wisdom really comes from experiencing. And part of those experiences are being trampled on in life and getting back up. And I just think it's cool. And I just want to like give a little round of applause. I won't clap into the microphone to everyone out there that's married, that's just showing up, that's standing up, that's waking up, that's choosing to participate, willing and intentional. And sometimes it doesn't even feel like you're being intentional, but you do know you're showing up, and that counts. It freaking counts. And I'm proud of you. If you listen to this podcast, even though I know you're here because I'm so funny, I also know you're here because of the show, because a lot of y'all skipped the intro. Not a lot of y'all. Actually, a minority. But there are some of y'all, talking to the minority, that they're like, I want the show, the meat, the content, the aid, the guidance, the solutions, the petty, the shit talking. You want all that. So, speaking of said shit talking, shall we dive in? Shall we? If you watch on the YouTube and if you listen, in the episode notes, I did include starting last week a timestamp. The first, you'll see it in the notes on YouTube and the first comment on YouTube where you can just click and it'll go right to listener questions start. And yeah, so doing you a favor, you are welcome. And to the majority who love the Kiki, the Gab, hey, let's keep it going for one more minute. I had the best weekend of my life, my anniversary weekend. So I just came off of that. So relaxing. If you live in Washington, you must go to the Post Hotel. Like, you must. We drove 5 hours. I would do it all over again. Oh, and funny story, we'll make another extra minute, 2 minutes. Like, oh no. We thought that Derek lost his wedding ring yesterday, and I went from up here just feeling good, so tacky, feeling good, feeling rested, feeling just amazing. Like, that was the atmosphere to make love in and just feel health, wellness. I was like starving the whole fucking time because it was so healthy. I was like, I want a Big Mac after this, and I got one. I haven't had a Big Mac in probably 5.5 years. I was like, give me a cheeseburger. But I know of all cheeseburgers, anyways, very healthy, great, high. I was so on fire. Okay. I was just loving life, feeling great. Ooh. And then we got home. And the thing is before we went home, before the 5.5 hour drive, he was like, oh my gosh, my wedding ring. And I'm like, where the fuck is it? Because if it was my wedding ring, we would stop. You would be like, we're going right here, we're going. Because I am more type B, type C, and he is type A. And so he was like, oh, it's got to be in my bag. Like, he doesn't just leave things around. He doesn't like leave things laying. He's very like structured in that sense, like organized, kind of. Yeah. And so he wasn't super worried about it. And we had put all of our stuff in the car because we could stay at the spa a little bit longer. And I was like, don't we want to check the room? He's like, no, I know for sure I got it. We'll like look in the bag before we go. I'm like, yeah, we should, because that's your wedding ring. It's important, okay? And so we left and we forgot. And then when we got home, I'm like, where's your wedding ring? Because if it's not here, like, death will become you and I will hate your fucking guts. And I'm not going to wear my wedding ring on my finger until you get a new wedding ring. So basically I'm like single by aesthetics, and I'm toxic and fucked up. And I was kidding. I was 97% kidding. But there was a little part of me that was a little bit mad. And I came in the bathroom and was like, where's the ring? Because I could see the panic in his eyes. And I'm like, I told you. And he was like, I am so sorry. I feel like the biggest dumbass. He's like, I don't see it in the freaking bag. And we're like going, I boo-hoo am sobbing. I'm like, the sentimental ring. You're gonna have to wear the silicone one from Amazon. And he's like, I'm gonna buy a new ring. You pick it out, and I'm gonna pay for it. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, I gave that's what's supposed to be for our son. And then there was a little bag sitting in the garage that was in the back seat next to my laptop. That was my skincare. And the ring was in there, and I put it in there on accident. We found the ring. So it was like really great. I was acting like there was a death in the family. Like, I was like, this is tragedy. it was like a solemn, like somber, darkness feeling. I'm like, you've lost his wedding ring on our anniversary. And we found it like 5 minutes later. And I feel like the universe like really like took us down. It was almost like a speedball, like took us down. And then we found it was like, like we were like both, like Derek was getting a little misty because I was being poetic about the ring. And then we found it. So he's like, we're going to get it back. I'm going to call him. I have a manager. I'm going to drive down there. And I'm like, no, you're not going to drive down there to like, the housekeeper took it. I'm just kidding. I did send a threatening email to the hotel after they were like, they didn't give a fuck a little bit. I think a 16-year-old answered the phone. It was 9:00 at night. I used to work in the hotel industry. Bitch, you said 2 minutes. And they didn't care. And they're like, there's someone in the room. We can't go look now. I'm like, there's someone in the room. I don't give a fuck. I know no guest there because the hotel was really fucking expensive, like really expensive, are not going to take it. But like, I don't trust you. I was being like a psycho fucking cunt. I didn't say that, by the way, which is stereotyping and wrong. And I've been on the receiving end of that before, so it doesn't feel good. Anyways. None of that I said. But then I sent an email like, a young, polite boy answered the phone who was not able to help me during this time. And this is urgent. And I am 1,000% sure that it isn't in that room. We know it is in that room. So we are going to find it in that room. Or housekeeping, maybe they have it locked up. You better ask every single one. 5 minutes later, I said, please disregard the previous email. Much love. Be back next year. Let's do listener questions. If you're looking for a good resource, you know what I'm going to say. Beducated. If you're looking to spice up your sex life, spice up date night, spice up your intimacy. You want to learn more. You want to understand more about yourself, about your own body, about your partner's body, together, individual, whatever. Okay, vanilla to spicy, they've got you covered. Whether it's a deepening intimacy or how to suck dick like a fucking rock star, they've got you. Men eating pussy like a pro. It's for everybody. Everybody, any lifestyle, any relationship status, especially my married people. And if you click the link in the episode notes, you will get 50% off the yearly pass with code Jordan, JORDYN. So go check out Beducated, BEDUCATED.com. It's the Netflix of sexual wellness, if you will. They got so many courses, over 100 expert taught courses. It changed my life. It changed the game, changed me as a wife, as a podcast host, my knowledge in general, everything. I couldn't recommend more. I will never shut up about it. I love it, and I know you are too. So go click the link in the episode notes, beducated.com, and use code Jordan to save 50% on the yearly pass. Listener questions. Okay, this one's first because I was so excited to read it, and I was like, yes! Why hasn't this been a topic yet? Huh? Why? Hi, Jordan. I adore the show. I follow both your social media accounts. You're my favorite. And I noticed you are married to a short king, as am I. Please fill the ladies in why these men are superior and hype the other kings up who might feel like their height makes them inferior. Okay, we're best friends. Let me tell you, why have I slept on sharing that you're sleeping on the short kings? If anyone is out here married to a short king, you know. And there's pros and cons, like anything. I do, my husband doesn't listen to this podcast. I do think Napoleon syndrome is real. I do, which is like little man syndrome. So do not bite my heads off. Shut the fuck up. There's all kinds of guess what? I think tall guys are fuckheads, or like not generally speaking, but I think there is something about a guy that has bigger than a 6-inch dick and is over 6 feet. So he tends to have a fuckboy air about him. He tends to maybe have an inflated ego because he thinks that that's going to get him in any room. and it doesn't always, okay? So that was just a stereotype, just like the little man syndrome is. And now little man syndrome, like, are there some men, really what that is, any man can have it. Any man. You could be 6'5" and have a little man, because you could have a little man inside of you. Okay, your little man, something about you is little, the smallest man that ever lived. I'm not a Swiftie. I don't even know that song, but I like the title because there's a bunch of those little fuckers. Because how you're behaving determines how big of a man you are. Factoid. So a short king. There's so many perks. There's so many perks. A beautiful short king that's just so fucking handsome. I've dated a lot of short guys. So I guess I don't have a type because if I lined up everyone I've dated, you wouldn't be like, oh, they all kind of like, oh, she definitely has a type. That wouldn't be something you say. But if we had to like put them in a Venn diagram, I would say majority of them were under 6 feet. Majority of them are like 5'10" and under. Majority. And a lot of like short kings in there. I would classify a short king being under 5'9". So, while any guy, and especially I understand the short thing, maybe feeling like growing up as a kid, having to be like, not like, Kids are fucking mean, right? And going back to the animal kingdom, it's like they can pick on what visibly may look weaker when there are lots of guys, regardless of height, that are strong, capable, like all the things, right? Manly. So they might have had to stand up for themselves more in adolescence than other kids. Might. And I can see why. We can all logically like understand. And so I think that could create maybe a sense of like, I need to compensate for where I lack, right? And I feel like that's like brokies, like broke men. They will be more emotional. This is just what I've seen, okay? Allegedly. What I've experienced. When I have dated broke men, I was young, very young. When I dated broke men, they were the most romantic from what I experienced. Again, I know there's really romantic rich guys that'll love bomb you and ruin your life. I'm just saying the broke ones, I'll never forget my dad saying, he is so emotionally available. That we should have. God, what have I done? He's so romantic and so over the top, and the writing you songs and the poems and the showing up here and the that and the I love you, shove it up your ass, because that's all he's got to give. That's really all he's got. So, but you're sleeping on the short kings, and you're really sleeping on them if they're from a small town, because underrated, my friend. I would love to talk to all the women who maybe am I a city girl? Depending on who you're asking, but I'm from a big city, like, 2 million people, like I'm from a big town. There we go. Maybe I lived in like a bubble of a suburb, but Houston, okay? North Houston. Zubiddles. And there's some people that'd be like, ugh, it just all depends on who you ask, okay? But there is something different about small town because they haven't been exposed to everything that people in bigger towns have, truly. So it's like you find a small town boy and they're almost like intimidated, yet like maybe it's endearing to them to see someone who is not like them or from a different world they're in. And you can like both be in awe of each other's upbringing. Or I guess that's how I felt with Derek. Like we grew up so differently, but we still grew up with the same values upheld, if that makes sense. Let's not spiral off short kings. But a short king from a small town is really, really just a home run. But he's got to be driven. Got to come from a good family. And by good family, that doesn't mean money necessarily. It means like not as fucked up as humanly possible. I know there's dysfunction in every family, but like find out which ones if he's got mommy issues or daddy issues, and then we'll go from there. But it's like, because these short kings, they can like check off all the boxes, and then they like, in their head, they're like, but I'm not over 6 feet. It's like, you're a gem of a man. You're gorgeous. You work hard. You're successful. But there's like this little factor that's kept you humble and sweet and like in line. In reality is what it is. And just the best, in my opinion, the best ones. So I don't have a lot of single listeners, but if you're listening and you're looking, I just told you, if you're a short king existing, it's your time. I just ate the microphone. It's your time to shine. It's been your time to shine. I do follow trends, and short kings have been in and are in right now. And I know there's always going to be that girl that has her preference. Why is it the 4'11" girl is like, I have to date 6 feet or older or taller? Why? Why? And the 5'7" girl is like, I don't care. I don't like, why? That's really funny. And I want to know why. I don't know why. I could imagine if I was like really tall, I'm 5'3" 3/4, how like most girls, we just want someone that we're not looking down on. That's pretty much most of our preferences. I feel like the younger generations seem to be a little more picky about it, but you know what? I think they'll be humbled. When they're alone crying themselves to sleep at night and realize they missed out on having a family because they were sold a lie, then they'll rethink that. So, 3 cheers for short kings. You are the winner. Ding, 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 ding. You are the winner. Next question. What do you suggest for the guys who want to last longer? No PE, premature ejaculation over here. I can go longer than that, but not long enough for her or my own liking. What options do I have? Okay. I think there's a lot of guys in your boat that are like, okay, I'm not like PE status. It's not like 2 minutes. It's not like that, or like whatever the classifications to like classify you as PE on, or diagnose you with PE. But they're like, I wish I lasted a little longer. Like I do. And she fucking does too. There's the the squeeze technique, the pulling out, the edging. I'm sure you've heard of them. If you haven't heard of edging, like that's not my problem. Just kidding. Google it, educated it, starting and stopping, essentially. Calm yourself down. Calm that guy down. But I know something that could work really, really well for you, and I think you should give it a try. Okay, so Popstar. Some of you may have heard of the brand of Popstar. They have a supplement I've talked about before on the show. They have another product that's a delay spray. So, what? A delay spray. And maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't, but that's its job, is to delay so that you can last longer. And I mean, they say only 50% of women have orgasms. The longer you're there, the higher the chances of her getting off are. So, this does matter. It does matter. Now, their delay spray is the strongest on the market. They have a very high volume of lidocaine in theirs. And if you're like, wait, lidocaine, are we all going to get numb? That's the best part about the delay spray, is that it doesn't transfer to your partner. You spray it on, you wait 2 minutes. So you're going to get frisky, spray it on. Like, I'm talking like go act like you're going to go pee something. It's like by the size of a chapstick, spray it on you, pull your pants back up, whatever. You can be clothed. You can have your pants on. You can have your pants off. I don't fucking care. But you let it dry down 120 seconds, okay? And now it's just for you. Non-transferable, doesn't numb you. Like, it's not going to make it where you can't feel. You get to keep the sensation. And I think that's all based on how the lidocaine molecule is broken down. But we're not having a science class. We're here to help you last longer. So if you go to Popstar, I'll put a link in the episode notes. You can click it. My link will apply a 15% discount on your purchase. And I think this could be a really helpful product so that you are lasting longer. It's going to help you. It's going to boost your confidence. And then you're going to perform better overall when you feel more confident. And she's going to be like, so go check it out. popstarlabs.com/horny housewife. And you can click the link in the episode notes. So you're welcome. Next question. What are your thoughts on splitting everything financially as a married couple? Why are you even asking me this question? You know, I think it's fucking stupid. But okay, I guess I'll be realistic. If that's what you went in with the intention to do, and that's like most of the time that works for people who grew up in a family that saw mom and dad financially both contribute. That's who it works for. If you grew up if a woman grew up in a home where she saw dad as the father as the provider, and the woman as like the nurturing stay-at-home parent who was the primary parent of sorts that does not give the men an out. We are not boomers. The boomers have more wrong with them than Gen Z, by the way, but far more. Pause. Please don't forget this. Please don't forget this. A boomer end. At the end, think of a boom, and don't forget to shit on the boomers in between this listener question. Don't forget. You're like, excuse me, do you know the audience you were talking to? But yeah, y'all are fucking cool. And y'all are obviously willing because you're here. Just giving me a chance. But yeah, if you grew up with that like gender role positive, what the fuck are we calling it? Then, you know, she's most likely gonna look for a similar dynamic where like that's how she kind of views it. Maybe not. And then there are other people who grew up where like the mom was the breadwinner. And I think to each their own. I don't think one's the right way, but you asked me, and I'm just telling you quite frankly, it gives me the ick. Still to this day, I will get on like Venmo to Venmo someone and I'll see like, you know, your friend's activity, and I'll see married couples, not that many, but married couples that are like, half of Olive Garden, the other half of Olive Garden, or Troy's soccer lessons, and they like split it equal. Like it's like, can y'all at least, if y'all are gonna be like that, actually, Derek doesn't spend everything on his own. Believe it or not, this fucking makes me money. What are you yapping about? I get paid to do it. And guess what? Mine's like the fun money. I love being able to buy my husband a gift that I bought with my money. You know, before this podcast, every gift was like, this is for you, from you, but yeah, from me. You know what I'm saying? But I think all those women that have to do that don't think like that, because if you are a stay-at-home mommy, I have one kid, okay? And I have my stepson who is 15 years old, and I'm about to wipe his ass, okay? 3 days of the week. So I have it easy was the point of sharing that. So there are some moms staying at home because they wanted to, or because that's what they agreed upon. Like that was, you know, you said I do to the life you chose. Don't forget you made your bed and you're lying in it. And you've got 2, 3, 4 plus, not even naming it, kids. Bitch, you should be getting paid. That budget, let's call it an allowance. Like, let's say, hey, Mike, that money you give me to spend each week, we're calling it my paycheck. And seriously, like that. So you shouldn't think, oh, I'm spending his money. Bitch, that's rightfully your money. So is it nice making your own money? Yes, because I've been on both sides. So I love it. It's a dream. But best believe if this wasn't happening, or if daddy was just like murdering it out there and the money was just booming in and I was like, fuck all of this. I can't see me doing that ever, no matter what, because I love this and it's my thing. But still, like if you sacrifice and you're married, guess what? That money is both of y'all's. So whatever I be doing, I wouldn't feel no shame. I'm in my game. But ladies, it's about you feeling fulfilled. And if you don't feel fulfilled, just doing the stuff at home and you want a side gig, or in 2025, there's like 8,000 fucking things you can do from home to make money, to have fun, start posting on social media. You know, you've got to be cringe if you want to make it on social media or start making money from social media. I know it's cringy. So fucking what? You got to create more than you consume. So yeah, but it does gross me out. Like, can y'all just figure out who's going to pay for what? Like, she'll do that, I'll do that. But you're like 50-50 on pay me back this, pay me back that, split this, put both of our cards out. It's tacky. It's tacky and it's disgusting. That's how I feel about it. And it's giving scarcity mindset. Scarcity. It's giving the opposite of abundance, in my opinion. Oh yeah, so my little shit on boomers before we go to the next question. Guys, I think the biggest indicator of you are like, you suck, or maybe like you need therapy, or like you need. Why did the boomers not ever go? They didn't go to therapy. I know why. I kind of get why, but like, you're not all dead, so you can go now. Why does this entire generation want to be better parents? Why does the whole like millennials, why are we overcorrecting so gosh darn hard? Why do we we want to validate our children collectively? Because we collectively were never validated. We collectively as a generation were like told you are better seen, not heard. Most of us were not validated, were not empowered, encouraged, and saw as individuals, but more like a system, like a family system. And they wonder, see, threw the key away twice. I threw the key away twice. I got to keep my lips sealed so I don't get myself in troubles. But yeah, I know there's lots of boomers listening. Are there? I think my demographic is the millennials, 25 to 45. Yeah. So maybe some like barely boomers. I do have some 45 to 55, but you did a good job if your kids still talk to you. If your kids still talk to you, you didn't completely, fuck it all up. Okay. But if they don't talk to you, maybe look inward. Maybe look inward and ask, why? Did I ever create an emotional safe space for them? Did I? Okay, moving onward to the next question. Thank you so much for the podcast. I started talking with my wife more about sex in the last month than the past 15 years. We were high school sweethearts, first sexual partners, and are doing awesome, but I just wished we communicated about sex more because we don't really, and it's kind of vanilla. I don't feel comfortable expressing my desires and am working on it. I asked her the other day if she ever masturbates, and she's never in her life. She said, I don't believe her, but I guess that exists. I asked her she said she was never curious. And didn't know what to do, and doesn't know how to make herself come, and doesn't have time with the 6 young kids we have. 6 young kids? Oof. I told her I want her to reclaim her body and discover her sexuality. No pressure, but to explore. I suggested for her to listen to the podcast, but do you have any other suggestions? I was shocked, frankly. It's not a religious thing. She's just like disconnected from her body and pleasure. Okay, well, keep the narrative going of like she deserves pleasure, she's worthy of pleasure. Life is too short for her not to experience romance and passion and sexual pleasure with her partner, like you with me, your husband, when you're talking to her. And say, obviously, as a man, I want to be physically intimate with my wife and feel close to you. But I also understand that sex might not be the thing that makes you feel close to me. But I would love to do what does to fill your cup. And if you don't know what's going to fill your cup, if you don't know what you like, Let's start, like, you like dinner? You like flowers? You like dates? How did y'all get married? How'd y'all end up with 6 kids? Obviously you have sex. So we need more feedback during sex. So I need you to be gauging what's going on by her moans, by her demeanor, her energy, talk. And I know you said that you are not ready to, or you don't feel super comfortable expressing your desires and working on it. Well, just know that's how she feels, probably like times 10. And so work on pushing yourself to get out of your comfort zone and asking questions and making sure she knows the reason you're asking is because you want to learn and understand your wife more so that you can be a better partner as a whole. And then as you connect and grow closer with your emotional intimacy, your physical intimacy will expand, grow, get better, etc. So it'll be a win-win. I suggest Beducated, and you might be like, wait a second, that's like prostate massage. Like we're trying to like just like talk about sex. They have lots of courses, and this is not an ad embedded in this, but I'm just telling you they have lighter things as well. Okay. Beyond that, a free resource, Google, you could just fucking Google. I know there's all kinds of like prompts and templates for couples to initiate conversation. And those would be like the most surface level. I think it's podcast and platforms like Beducated for people who are really looking to like evolve and mix it up for that depth, for that like really stellar, intricate, detailed technique, all that. But just a Google search of like prompts, questions to ask each other as a couple, all those things, I think that's a great starting place for a couple in your situation, is starting on the surface and, scratching it and going deeper and deeper and deeper. So she may not feel comfortable sharing that with you, and she may not be being honest, because I feel like even on accident, we masturbated as kids and didn't even know what we were doing or why we were doing it. We didn't understand our bodies. And again, going back to being a millennial, if you had a boomer parent, no one was telling me what sex was, explaining anything to me. No one asked me if I had any questions. I was given a book that said, here's how chickens do it. Here's how pigs do it. Here's how humans do it. There was no follow-up. When I did discover what porn was, my parents never said, I think they didn't want to embarrass me, which like, thank you. Thank you so much, because that's so embarrassing. But I think they thought I was a lesbian because I like looked at lesbian porn when really I just had no idea what anything was. And I was just like getting lessons and anatomy lessons, what sex was, what do gay people do? What do straight people do? What is oral? Like through porn, which is like the most terrible teacher in the whole entire world. But I didn't have anyone to talk to it about. I knew I had parents that liked each other, so like that was awesome for the most part, and that were doing it. They didn't seem to be a couple that ever stopped doing it. So I like knew like, oh, people that are in love and are married have sex. But I didn't ever get any explanations, and I think that's why a lot of us turned to the computer. How did I get to the computer? So yeah, I don't know how she grew up and if she had a computer, but I guess there are some people that are classified as like truly asexual, and I don't even want to like say that word and like put that out there, because I think that I would bet a majority of the time there's like a circumstantial reason as to why you feel so disconnected from your body. Trauma, disassociation, survival skills, coping skills, and 6 young kids. So I think it's the 6 young kids. It's probably that's 6 giant factors. And then on top of that, what her marriage, how she views her marriage and the closeness she has. Find that out. And this is all perspective. Don't take these as an attack. Learn your spouse. Don't take what they say as an attack. You may disagree. You may be like, how could they think that I do this, this, and this? You're learning their perspective. You can ask questions, have a deeper understanding, and if it blows your mind how could they possibly view it like this when, look at this, share how you view it without dismissing what they view. Find out why. What leads them to this conclusion, to this narrative, their truth. Okay? So sounds like you've got 20 questions to play with good old wifey, and this will be a slow burn. And you know what? I love that this podcast has inspired the conversation. 15 years and in 1 month. Just imagine what 1 year of intention is going to do to your marriage. So, bravo. I believe in you both. You expressing your desires, but she's got to feel emotionally safe with you so she can receive that, hear it, and then open up to you. So manage what you're in control of and communicate, because that's what you're wanting from her, right? Moving onward. Before we do so, just a little FYI, if you're listening and you're like, I want to write a question, you can go to thehornyhousewifepodcast.com and click Ask Anonymously. You do not have to enter in the name or the email field, or you can make up a name. My favorite. I love that. You can also slide in my DMs at THHpod over on Instagram. And if you're listening to the podcast and want to watch it, that'd be really fun. Go over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel and click the little bell so you never miss anything. Anything at all. Okay. If you feel like your energy is gone, like you're like, where the hell did that go? Or your progress has stalled, or your body's just like not responding the way that it used to, you're not alone. For a lot of people, it's not about trying harder. It's about finally getting the right support. And that is where LifeRx.md comes in. LifeRx is one of the largest custom telehealth clinics in the country, specializing in GLP-1 and peptide therapy designed to help you reach your goals, whether that's weight loss, muscle growth, longevity, or just feeling good again. LifeRx offers a wide range of peptides, including NAD+, which is all the freaking rage right now. Go find out more. Semorylin, don't quote me on that pronunciation, and lipomino, just to name a few. Custom GLP-1 start at just $250 a month. See, you can afford this. You get a physician-guided plan tailored to you. No insurance, no subscription, no wait list, just affordable care, medication shipped to your door, and 24/7 support to keep you on track. Click the link in the show notes and use code HOUSEWIFE at checkout for $50 off your first month. That's liferx.md and use code HOUSEWIFE when you check out. Just click the link in the episode notes. Go check it out. Last but certainly not least, my question is, my wife and I have been married 9 years, together for 14. We work opposite shifts to make sure we don't need childcare. My wife works part-time, around 24 hours a week, 4 days a week. So I'm left with 3 nights a week to get intimate with my wife. She doesn't take my needs as serious as I think she should, and I don't feel like a priority on the nights we do have together. I understand that pressure may be involved, and the night she is not feeling it, I go along and give her what she would rather have, which is usually cuddling. I've talked with her about my needs and the biology of men and women, but I don't think she is taking me serious or doesn't care enough, maybe. But I don't think we said that. I've bought sex games, offer toys. We have a sex pillow that adds a positive aspect. I love oral and go down basically every time we do it to make sure she achieves orgasm. I need your help. And when we do it, it's really good. At least 30 minutes to an hour, multiple rounds usually. I know she gets off a few times. We are 40 years old and they have 2 kids, and they're young kids. I'm not going to say their ages. They're young. This is a season, my friend. This is a season. We need to look at the silver lining and the good things. This isn't the answer you're going to want to hear right now, and I will aid in providing some sort of solution. I will. The best I got. Something that could help. I'm not leaving you hanging. But first, I just want to fill you in, sissy, okay? She's in the season of her life where her kids are they're not newborn babies where you're like a hostage, but you kind of still are a hostage. They're under 3 years old, and she's in this season of where her body she's exhausted. Okay. She's exhausted. She has a demanding job. Clearly, you both work. You're like ships passing in the night. Her children are obviously a priority. She's a mother, and her husband. The sex is good when you have it. Amen. There are so many people in your boat, and it's awful. It's non-existent. It's going through the motions. It's robotic. It's boring. And guess what? There are married couples that are happily married for the most part that go through those seasons. There are couples that you look at and you're like, oh man, they must be X, Y, and Z. They will go through a time where the sex is mediocre, okay? I think that's to be expected. We need to normalize and understand that there may be times of mediocre maintenance sex. And that doesn't mean that, oh, this doesn't serve me anymore. Oh, like my sex life is so bad. Oh, it's called ebb and flow. It's called seasons. It's called course correction. It's called bringing awareness to where we could do better or pour into or water our marriage. I've been with Derek 10 years, been through the ebbs and flows. As the self-proclaimed horny housewife, I've felt not horny. I have felt where I want to, but then like physically I'm not showing up in that way. I've felt numb, like physically numb before, where I want to partake, like I want to make this choice, but my body isn't responding in the way I want it. I have related to a million listener questions, even if my marriage doesn't look like that person says theirs does, okay? Because I'm a human being, just like you, just like your wife. And the cool part is coming out the other side of that, getting back to passionate, coming back, like going through these cycles, but then you evolve. You're not just like stagnant and like randomly it's good. It's like you evolve, you get through, you push on. Sometimes you go back, you go forward, you climb the ladder, you go back down. It's normal. You're normal. And yeah, you could be the person who gets divorced every 5 years and you want to go fall in love again and get that dopamine rush every 5 to 7 years or however many long, less, more, and chase this love that you think should be sustainable. But in all reality, like you'll hit a plateau with the person. You'll realize, like, you'll start to be able to predict more, and we find predictable to be boring as human beings. And I more so think, like, I remember really, especially at the beginning of this podcast, like thinking, wow, like, we're animals, and like, is monogamy not natural? Is monogamy not, like, as animals, like, there's no animals that are really monogamous except penguins, and we love penguins. But then it's like, but wait a second, we're not animals. Like, yeah, we're animals, right? But we're civilized and we're domesticated. And if we went out there and beat our chest and ripped someone's head off and feasted on them, we'd go to jail in a mental institution. So we were civilized, domesticated, a part of society, social norms, social constructs, and monogamy serves us well, in my opinion. I do believe that there are people that participate in alternative lifestyles, marriages that have different boundaries, and they're successful. Do I believe that the majority of them are not sustainable and the majority of them do end not together? I do. To each their own. Those 2 or 3 or whatever get to decide what kind of relationship they want to partake in, what boundaries they have, etc. And getting back to you. You're like, what does this have to do with me? I just want to validate. I understand this can be frustrating because you're in the now. You can't see the forest if you're in the trees, right? Is it? You can't see the trees if you're in the middle of the forest. I don't fucking know. But when you're in it, you just can feel like what I'm missing, what I'm longing for, what I don't have, lack. And then when I focus on what I don't have, that lack, it expands and becomes like really all I see when I look at the picture. I see what I look at the picture and all I can think about is what's not there. Instead of like loving the picture and loving all the different parts of the picture and how pretty the picture is and how great this part of the picture is and that part of the picture, instead of I wish this was here and I wish that was there. But you love, like you were obsessed with that picture a little bit ago, but now you want a new picture? You know what I mean? And you're like, I don't want a new picture. I don't want a new why. I didn't say that. But if you feed that wolf, you will show up hungry in your marriage. Like if you are feeding the lack, you are not going to feel fulfilled. You're going to have this internal dialogue and this narrative, and you're going to see out of that lens. So that is when we brainwash ourselves. We remind ourselves, take charge. This is a muscle, okay? You have more power than you realize. You have a lot more power than you realize. Law of assumption, manifestation, all of those things. You have a lot of power. The mind is a powerful, powerful thing. So I need you to get positive. I need you to write gratitude list every day. Okay? You're like, what? I have a homework? It really can change the way you think about it. Like, what do you love about your wife? And you named some things that you love about your wife and how when you do have it and multiple orgasms and the time spent and like when it's good, it's good. Like that's great. I think you should check in to see if she agrees. Like there's so many men that think it's just amazing. And then their wives, like if we asked a husband and a wife, rate your sex life 1 to 10, most of the time the guy is going to score it higher than the girl. So make sure you find out, does she think it's really good or is it really good for you? I don't know that answer, but that's something for you and my listeners to think about, to think of. And then having some understanding and compassion for those 3 days off, her weekend essentially, isn't just going to be like nymphomaniac time for her. I think you getting her in a space to soften as a feminine is going to be your best bet. Like if she's dead ass tired and the intimacy is cuddling to her, she's going to fall asleep. And I can't tell you how many times I have been tired and not in the mood, but with my husband focused on my pleasure, he has turned that around a lot of times. A lot of times where I have really been totally fine. If I was to pick one, I would have picked to just go to bed. But because he's like, he's not saying I really want to fuck, but I really want to. He is drawing me a bath, getting in the bath, and I stay willing. I stay present. That's what I do. Anytime I feel like the anxiety, the pressure, we don't have to do this. We should just go to bed. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I'm like, get present. Get right in this present mode, like moment mode. And my hot bath and my husband rubbing me, and it feels so good. Kissing, God, don't forget to kiss. We're all forgetting to kiss. The longer you're married, it seems like the more you go into like sex is sex, you got to make out. Don't forget, practice your making out and practice giving head, okay? I double dog dare you. Maybe listening to this podcast together could be something that inspires, and taking your needs serious. She might be a little resentful and being like, how dare he tell me like this was what he needs. Maybe she laughs it off like it's a stereotype because like I'm sure a lot of her friends or married friends are like, yeah, like he always wants. When we went to Leavenworth this weekend, there was a table of women sitting right next to us, like 8 women. They were loud, they were drinking, they were fun. I loved it. And one lady was like, yeah, that's all their fucking physical language. Raise your hand if your husband's love language is physical touch. Yeah, they want it all the time. You know, so they were over there blabbing about it. and what they wish that their husband knew that they loved. It's like, go tell your husband that. Go tell him that. Say, I wish you knew that I loved this. That's why I think you should have shared notes on your phones as a married couple. So you don't have to send the text. It's like the same thing, but it's not. And you have a little like love deposits. Jordan's love deposits, Derek's love deposits, Tom's love deposits, Susie's love and you can write like the things down, I've read them before in this podcast, that make you feel loved, that fill your cup up, or deposit a little love deposit in your love bank, because we know that life and that other person and your kids and your family and your girl are going to withdraw from that bank, that well, that tank. You're like, I'm running on empty, Tom. So make sure you're keeping that filled. When you keep that filled, there's more room for getting freaky. Now, if you're just walking around desperado, boner slanging, that ain't the way to do it, okay? That's not the way. I don't know what your cuddling looks. Your cuddle game fucking sucks. No, you sound like a very sweet man who is like just going to show up for her and cuddle her if she wants cuddled, and you feel probably maybe dismissed. Like, I brought this up to her and she just doesn't seem to care. Nothing's changing. Well, what could you do differently? Since we can't control, how could you show up differently and then initiate a conversation to have a better understanding of how she feels? Ask her what her dream weekend looks like and just listen instead of judge. Like just hear it from her POV and let it be, it is what it is. Don't take these things personally. That's so important. Don't make it about you when it's not about you. Hard. Make sure you are asking her, am I showing up the way you want? Is there any needs that you need in our marriage, or wants or desires that I'm not meeting? Like, they have, like I just said, templates. They have templates for like check-ins, like marriage check-ins. That wouldn't be bad. You got to get over those hurdles and kind of like practice some radical honesty that may end up hurting your feelings. If you want to get over that bump where it's like kind of all on the table and you like ruffle some shit up and the dust has to settle, sometimes some hot ass sex happens after the dust settles. You may not get what you're looking for by doing all of the things I listed, and now she's ready to have sex 2 of those 3 days of her weekend. I think it's a season. I think if you keep watering it and inquiring, and y'all can keep communication open, and you can voice your needs while making sure you're expressing that you're there to be there for her. I really hope that you're not the only willing participant in the marriage. It doesn't sound like it, but I think you can get somewhere. I do. And then hopefully this will evolve. As your kids get older, it will evolve. And if you've treated her right and y'all have made it through it and weathered the storm, I promise the sex has the good, the ebb and the flow as well. So hold on. I hope her work schedule doesn't look like that forever, because boy, does that sound fucking exhausting. And I know maybe that wasn't the answer you were looking for. Sometimes we are just shit out of luck. But I do think it will boil down to mindset at the end of the day. And you're not alone. You are not alone. That's for fucking sure. If there's anyone out there listening that has a demanding job, that you and your spouse are ships passing in the night, how do you connect when you have that time off? That's a great question. Like, I'd love to hear stories from other couples that have demanding jobs with kids. How do you keep it spicy? It probably isn't going to be 3 nights a week. You know, it's like, realistically looking at it, statistically, you're probably doing a fan-fucking-tastic job. Y'all are probably ahead of a lot of other couples. So be proud of yourselves and keep doing the damn thing. Okay, I love you, long time. This was fun. I will see you all next Monday. Make sure you're subscribed to the show. Write in, suggest a topic, ask a question, anything and everything. I love you all. See you next week.